Hello and welcome back to this edition of Bayou Time. Again, your host, Keith Weissite, licensed clinical social worker with Charitable and Home Care. Very glad you are rejoining us. We appreciate it. And we always like it when our set gets better with people that are doing a lot in our community, and they make the set look better because they're just better looking, and that's just the way it is. Welcome back to the program. Ms. Jennifer Armand, we appreciate you being here.
Yeah, well, thank you so much. It's a delight.
Absolutely. So as the executive director of the Bayou Community Foundation, you guys do a lot in the community, but y'all have been doing it for 10 years.
Yes. Boy, time has really flown. Bayou Community Foundation was started in October of 2011. It's hard to think back that far. I'm grateful to have been a part of the organization since that time.
Right.
And we have truly seen so much growth in our own activities and really the activities and support of our donors and the nonprofits we're able to help over that time. It has been truly remarkable. If we think back to the foundation of Bayou Community Foundation 10 years ago, our community was reeling after Hurricanes Katrina, Rita,
right.
Gustav, and Ike, and then the 2010 Gulf oil spill.
That's right. So many things leading right up to that, in that 5-year period,
Right.
if you will.
Right. And that was really the impetus behind the foundation. A few of our local residents and stakeholders got together and said our precious community of Lafourche, Terrebonne, and Grand Isle needed a community foundation solely to support our unique culture, way of life, needs. So they formed Bayou Community Foundation, and our primary goals are to promote philanthropy, strengthen nonprofit capacity, and fill critical needs in our community in order to create a sustainable and compassionate coastal community for decades to come. And I have to say, over the past 10 years, we have been delighted to be able to provide, thanks to the support of our donors,
Right.
nearly $2 million in annual grants, 242 nonprofits receiving grants over that time to address some really important needs here.
And it's remarkable. And so part of the way to do that is through your 2023 annual nonprofit grants program,
Right.
which is now open, and people can apply online, and they can do that up until March 1st. And again, you can see the details there. You can go to www.bayoucf.org/grants-process, and it will walk you through the process for how to do that, right?
Exactly. Our grants program is designed for 501c3 nonprofits who are working in Lafourche, Terrebonne, and Grand Isle with critical programs addressing human services, education, workforce development, and coastal concerns.
Wow.
We early on in January of 2012, our board knew that in order to successfully address critical needs, we had to know what those would be in our
Kind
community.
of a needs assessment. In our
Exactly.
community.
So
Okay.
in January of 2012, we conducted our first community needs assessment. And we were so surprised that across all of the groups of people who participated, people representing schools and hospitals and criminal justice and parish governments, that the one most pressing need and unfilled area was mental health.
Not surprising.
And I dare say that after all of the tragedies we've gone through over the past 3 years,
Right.
I think mental health remains one of our strongest unmet needs.
It does, and I can tell you, spending 30 years helping and working with families, especially with dementia, I will tell you that that is still a glaring need and one that kind of keeps growing as
Right.
time goes by. So it's just one of those things that I thank y'all for looking at where the help is needed. Let's talk about where some of this money has gone.
Sure, absolutely.
And so as you do that, we've got some pictures here. I appreciate you bringing up and some of those local nonprofits that have received help with the $2 million that y'all have given in the last 10 years.
Yes,
Which is
yes.
remarkable, by the way.
Well, thank you. And we couldn't do without our donors.
Right.
But I'll give you just an idea of some of the nonprofits that have received our grants and the wonderful work that they are doing. Bunkhouse Shelter, of course, right here in Houma. We provided a $10,000 grant to them in 2022 for their emergency shelter and hot meals
Right.
to homeless folks in Terrebonne and Lafourche.
Hope Restored.
Hope Restored,
Right.
yes. They have a program to provide education for fathers
Right.
Something we really don't see very much at
No,
all,
you're
but something
exactly
that's
right.
very needed, and we were able to support that. Girls on the Run, of course, have a very successful after-school program.
It's terrific.
Teaching girls through running and exercise
Life skills.
life skills and being independent, and
Right.
it's truly wonderful. So we're able to support them.
The St. Francis Vegetation Garden, which is
Vegetable
just
garden, yes, yes. They
wonderful.
provide a lot of fresh fruits and vegetables to food banks throughout our area.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see, St. Vincent de Paul. Oh, the Tri-Parish Pharmacy.
Wow.
They have been a grantee of ours for probably the full 10 years. They provide free and reduced cost medicine to those who need it. And that's tremendous work that they're doing here, particularly as inflation hits everyone's pocketbooks very hard. Yeah. Hope Extreme, this was a grant this year, was a very innovative program. It's called Hope Fridges, and they have a refrigerator outside of their facility in East Homa, where anyone can just walk up and get fresh food, cold food. It's a wonderful program. We're delighted to support it. Terrebonne Arc, I believe this was for software and other electronic devices
that they needed
for their
help with.
programs. Yes.
And so, listen, it is quite obvious. TFAE, as again, we see Ashley there, so much help,
Yes.
$10,000 for them as well. And the Haven, I mean, it could go on and on and on with, you know, with the $2 million that y'all have given and so often. And so we just appreciate that very much. But you got to tell you, a lot of people I don't think know about all of the wonderful help that y'all provide and the philanthropy that's done in our multi-parish area, this Bayou region. So it's so very exciting. So thank you for all of the hard work that's being done and helping out those nonprofits that, quite frankly, they're a nonprofit because they're just trying to address a need. And I love the fact that y'all do needs assessment to figure out which areas need that more than others.
Right, right. And a former parish president once told me in the early days of Bayou Community Foundation that nonprofits do the really hard work that private business and government simply cannot do.
That is correct.
And I think we have seen in the aftermath of Hurricane Ida the wonderful work and the tremendous effort that nonprofits have put forward to initially provide food and water.
Right.
To folks,
on the front end,
and continue to walk with them through recovery far faster, I think, than any other government effort could have done.
I agree, because there's so much red tape that prevents them from moving quickly. But so many organizations really did a great job stepping up, and a lot of the churches as well.
Yes.
It was just tremendous to be able to see.
Yes.
But in speaking of that, 18 months later, we're still struggling. And there are people that are still struggling. Let's talk about how y'all are helping with that in this housing recovery.
Well, first, I need to say that we are so grateful for donors right here in our community, in our state, but also throughout the country and really the world.
Really?
Who saw the pictures unfold after Hurricane Ida of the devastation here in Lafourche, Terrebonne, and Grand Isle, and recognized that we were not New Orleans. We were the point of landfall, and we were not the metropolitan area that was getting all of the attention, but we desperately needed help. And donations just flowed in to Bayou Community Foundation's Bayou Recovery Fund for Hurricane Ida relief, and we were able to put those dollars directly into relief and recovery efforts that our nonprofits were doing and really fund so much of the activity. In the early days, of course, it was food and water and cleaning supplies and all of those necessities. Bayou Community Foundation actually, a week after the storm, we had 4 days where we distributed gasoline in Montague and in East Homa and down in Golden Meadow in South Lafourche. The lines, it was far more people who needed gasoline than we could deliver. But it was a wonderful way for us to see what the needs were. And that was kind of our wake-up call to, we've got to get in here and do this. And you know, get our hands dirty and get to work. So we started issuing grants to nonprofits for that critical relief work. In November of 2021, we conducted a needs assessment
Right.
to find out now that we were past the early hump, what
Right.
were going to be the long-term needs.
What's the next? What is the next set of needs that
Right.
are going to be more long term than this is immediate needs?
Exactly. And so housing was obviously number
Right.
one and
Sure.
continues to be.
Yeah.
And with that, Bayou Community Foundation has now invested, I think, over $3 million in housing efforts for, initially, it was temporary housing like
Right,
campers
right.
and things in Lafourche and Terrebonne and Grand Isle. And now we are so excited to have 3 huge home rebuilding projects going on in Dulac, in Grand Isle, and just launched in the last week, Rebuild South Lafourche.
Wow.
In Dulac, we have the wonderful partnership with Mennonite Disaster Service Storm Aid,
Right.
which
Familiar
are a
with
group
them.
of Amish volunteers from Pennsylvania and Ohio.
Met
and that
some of
area.
them. Remarkable.
Yes, they are. From May to June of this past year, I'm sorry, January to May
Okay.
of this past year, we were able to build 8 homes
8
with them,
homes.
8 homes in Dulac within 5 months.
Unbelievable.
And even better than that,
Okay.
right now, between January and May of this year, we're going to build 16 more. As a matter of fact,
24 homes in that
Yes.
1 year period.
yes,
That's-
yes.
that's remarkable.
Right, with all volunteer labor, and of
Right.
course, Bayou Community Foundation funds the purchase of all the building materials.
Right.
And the specialty services like the plumbers and the electricians and
Right.
things like that.
Wow.
We are doing the same thing with Rebuild Grand Isle right
Right,
now. We have
right.
3 homes under construction on
Okay.
the island and 40 others that are slated for repairs.
Wow.
We
43 total.
Yes.
3 new and
We have,
40
and this is all
repairs.
residents of the island.
Right.
This isn't
Right.
camps.
Those who sleep there. Right. Right.
This is residents.
Those who live there.
Right, and we're working with a Methodist volunteer group, a Mennonite volunteer group, and also another Amish group there. And we have just launched Rebuild South Lafourche and are making a few repairs right now, but planning to open a bigger program in just a few weeks.
Well, I don't know that there is a better example of a problem, a needs identification, addressing the need, and making it happen.
Yes.
To be able to do that so very quickly. And again, on these shows, we talk all the time about partnerships. It is what you guys are doing at the Bayou Community Foundation, partnering with those people who are wanting to help and being able to provide the support from your partners who help fund that.
Right.
And so just some remarkable programs. Again, all of the things that have been done in Dulac, all the things that are being done down in Grand Isle and now in Lafourche, so very exciting. I can't thank you enough for coming on to share with us because we don't know.
And
So
that's-
I would
yeah,
love
that's
for
why
you
we're
to
here.
come back when we have a little bit of completion of those and show some pictures
Yes,
about all
absolutely.
these happy people with all the support for what y'all are doing. And it's all about paying it forward. So I can't thank you enough,
Yes.
Jennifer. Thanks for coming on
Thank
to do that with
you.
us.
Thank
We
you so
appreciate it.
much.
All right, guys, that will do it for this particular Bayou Time. Don't go anywhere. A lot more local programming here on HTV.